So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Redington Fortinet virtual session. Today's topic we have from Fortinet on Fortinet Secure Access Technologies. The session will be delivered by Fortinet Senior Systems Engineer Mohammad Rafiq. In case you have any questions during the session, I would request you to please put in all your queries in the Q&A tab, and Rafiq will be able to answer all your questions towards the end of the session. Also joining us today in the session, we have Malik and Ravi from Redington, who will also be helping in answering all your queries. So, Rafiq, over to you.
Thank you, Vindhya. Good morning, everyone. Once again, hope you all are doing well. So, quickly to start with our today's topic, I want to review the agenda today. Once again, our agenda for today's session. So, on a high level, we are going to cover the secure access wireless solution offering. This we are where we are going to talk about the integrated platform, controller, and cloud onboarding. So, different management platforms when it comes to wireless solution offering. Then, similarly, we have secure Fortinet secure switching solution overview, where we are going to cover the deployment modes, the management possibilities, or deployment options with secure switching, and then we will move on to the FortiVoice unified communication to introduce you FortiVoice IPPBX solutions, the different gateways that are available with Fortinet voice telephony solution, along with different types of or different models of IP phones that can be used as desk phones, right? And then we have when it comes to the physical security, we will also talk about the physical security aspect, where we will introduce you to the 40 cameras, 40 recorder, the components of IP surveillance system. So that also covers the Fortinet recorder, which is a centralized solution, along with an application that can be installed on your client devices. And then once we are cover or we briefly cover the solution overview, then we will move on to the quick demo. For sure, we will not be able to demonstrate all the features and capabilities in terms of deployment modes. But what we could do is we can take one of the aspect of deployment, maybe a controller wireless solution, and then we move on to the switching and 40 voice and recorder, so on. Depending on the time availability, then based on that, we will go with the flow, and and then we can continue with the question and answer session. So once we are done, probably I will review your questions. If you feel free to type your questions in the chat window. So before we begin with the secure access technologies, I want to just give you a quick overview, or the market drivers that we are seeing from a customer requirement point of view. So there are three key different market drivers that are enforcing, or that are forcing our customers to refresh their switching and wireless infrastructure. Mainly, they are improved coverage in terms of securing them, because one of the key vector today is your access layer, where this access layer has become the broadest surface for any cyber attack. So keeping that in mind, customers are looking for securing their access layer, because the phenomenon of the BYOD came into the existing. Now people are coming with a lot of growth, a lot of IoT devices connecting to the network. So today, if we see the number of devices connected are around 25 billion devices connected on the cloud. And then moving on, the network has become more and more complex. So keeping all these things in mind, looking at the security at access layer and the growth to address the customer requirement in terms of handling the capacity, in terms of handling the growth, onboarding different type of devices on the network, right? And different protocols on the network. So customers are looking for growth in terms of capacity on the access layer platform. Then the third and key important aspect of simplicity in terms of management, where they are looking for the solutions where they have ease of management, whether the user is connected to a wired platform or wireless, to give a consistent or uniform user experience when they are connected to the network. So including your VPN connectivity, so users connecting from VPN. So basically, the customers are looking to have a a uniform security policies implemented across wired, wireless, and VPN platforms. So let's have a quick look at the Wi-Fi evolution. Since Wi-Fi was first released to consumers in 1997, right? The Wi-Fi standard have been continuously evolving. That is basically, typically, if you see the main aspect of the evolution of Wi-Fi, it is mainly the need of speed. So we are seeing that the speed has as you move on from 802.11 802.11, then if you move on to B, A, and so on. So what you see, the difference is data rates, the number of the speed that we support on these platforms are rapidly increasing. So today, approximately on AX platform, we are talking about a data rate or the speed of approximately 9.6 or close to 10 Gbps on wireless network. And apart from that, not only that, and when we introduce when there has been a lot of enhancement done along with the amendment, right? They call it with different names, as we refer to 802.11 B, G, and so on, right? In 2008, the Wi-Fi Alliance took steps to make Wi-Fi standard names much easier to identify. So today you see people calling 802.11 AX as generation 5 or Wi-Fi 6 or as a standard. But and not only this, in they also renamed generation 5, which means your 802.11 AC and 802.11N with generation Wi-Fi 5 and Wi-Fi 4 respectively. All right, so let's look at the key technology, building blocks towards 802.11 AX, where what enhancement has been done when it comes to 802.11 AX, right? So it's mainly support for 8x8, MoMIMO for with downlink and uplink, then OFDM support on downlink and uplink. It can also allow you or enables link resource scheduling, and if you see the OFDM support is long compared to AC, and when it comes to modulation, 802.11 AX supports QAM 1024 modulation and extended range, along with support on both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz with more and more special streams, and also allows you to do BSS color coding on 802.11 AX platform. So 802.AX platform basically it improves average throughput per user in a dense environment by 4 times. One of the biggest enabler for this efficiency is where you have more and more devices connecting more and more devices, along with multi-user MIMO and multi-user on OFDM. So let's have a quick look at the comparison between 802.11 AC and AX platform. So if the main difference you can see in the frequency band, where 802.11 AC supports only at 5 gigahertz, whereas 802.AX supports on both 2.4 as well as 5 gigahertz band. And 802.AX works on basically or it introduces OFDM, which is orthogonal frequency division multiple access. This basically helps you to reduce the amount of interference from neighboring wireless networks. The main advantage over 802.11 AC for AX is basically the higher data rates, the capacity, improved capacity. This means now you can have double the capacity or more and more devices connecting to AX platform. And if you see the number of multi-user support in AAC was only about 4 users, whereas in AX it can go up to 8 users with a downlink and uplink support. So when it comes to Fortinet wireless access, it's an entire world when it comes to solution offering. So you can see we have different types of access points, starting with 40 APs, 40 APU, 40 APS, 40 APC. Then moving on to FWF, 40 Wi-Fi, regulatory domain. So let's talk about each one of them on a high level. So when I refer to the 40 APs, there are access points, Fortinet access points. They are named as 40 APs. They can be managed through your FortiGate firewalls, and they can be managed over the FortiCloud. When you refer to FortiAPU, basically U represents your universal platform, yeah, which means you can manage FortiAPs on all the platforms, all the management platforms that Fortinet offers. Then we also have a secure Fortinet access point. That's basically for the customers who are looking for more secure wireless environments where they don't have a, FortiGate FortiGate firewalls to integrate, or possibly remote locations or distributed architect where customers want to have all the UTM features on a wireless platform. And FAPC, that's basically a 11AC standard of access point. Then moving on to 40 Wi-Fi, 40 Wi-Fi is there are different models of FortiGate firewalls that has built-in wireless. So for instance, 40 F Wi-Fi, so that has a FortiGate along with Wi-Fi built-in. So anything which represents FWF, that represents 40 Wi-Fi, FortiGate with a built-in wireless radio interface. So you can have basically for a small deployments where customers are for a small deployments where customers are looking for a UTM or a firewall along with a Wi-Fi one access point, then you can replace that one AP requirement with 40 FWF model, where 40 FWF can act as a wireless access point along with a UTM or firewall appliance. And regulatory domains, yes, we do follow regulatory domains depending on the country we ship our access points. So, for instance, Saudi Arabia needs 40 AP suffix, which is E as an alphabet. If we are shipping the same access point, same AP model to, for instance, to Kuwait, then we probably follow the regulatory domain to meet the local regulatory domain requirements, which is alphabet I. So depending on that, we have different regulatory domain, or if you see our SKUs, the AP model ends with a different suffix. Basically, this suffix represents the supported regulatory domains for the respective countries. And then we do have Forti Presence Analytics solution. We'll talk about that in detail. And when it comes to authentication on the wireless platform, we do have our radius solutions. Where one of them are FortiConnect, which can act as a radius server, which has a nice fully customizable captive portal functionality with integration with social media platform, SMS gateway integration. Apart from that, we also have Forti Authenticator, which has similar functionality. Along with additionally, what you have is two-factor authentication on Forti Authenticator, along with certificate digital certificate-based authentication, where Forti Authenticator can act as a certificate authority server. Then, when it comes to pre-sales activity, we do have Forti Planner as an application tool, which helps you to do the predictive site survey. So, if you want to plan for any predictive design, so you could actually import the floor plans on Forti Planner and place the respective AP model that you have in mind to position here to your customer, and prepare a heat map report. So you can generate the heat map reports. Along with that, it also allows you to do the post implementation survey, where once you are done with your design and the deployment is done, if you want to go back and review your deployment, or you want to do a post implementation survey, that can also be carried out using Forti Planner tool. And when it comes to antenna offering, we have different types of antennas, like sector antennas, directional antennas, indoor antennas, outdoor antennas, with different combinations, single band, dual band, respectively, depending on what customer is looking for, or what is the use case, or what applications they want. Depending on, or if you're deploying for in a high density environment, then that requires a special antenna. So depending on what we need, we have all the components in a nutshell, what is required for a wireless solution. So where we stand in Gartner's Magic Quadrant, if you see our position in 2018 and 2019, so I'm really glad to see this change happening. We are moving ahead. So if you see under niche player, we are a major player here, or we are the topper in niche players vendor list. If you compare, if you go back and look the Gartner Magic Quadrant for 2017, even we were lower. So I see that there is a consistent improvement in terms of in terms of the product, in terms of our ranking in Gartner's umbrella, right? And if you look at business opportunities in wireless segment, wireless market is expected to grow by 5.96 billion in 2017 and about 15.6 billion by 2020, which is approximately about 21% growth. Whereas if you look at the network security firewall market, that is between a duration of 2018 and 2023, which is expected to grow only by 12.2 percentage. And no wonder you when you participate in any wireless opportunity or you're working on any wireless deal, you're facing a lot of competition. No doubt, wireless has become a commodity business now. Every other vendor has a wireless solution today to offer. But what differentiates Fortinet, or how you can position or how you can leverage your deal. Basically, you can take the advantage of Fortinet wireless integration with security fabric, whether it's an integrated platform or if you are introducing controller platform. Both the platforms, they fully integrate with security fabric, so you can go and communicate to your customer and talk about the security fabric integration from a wireless segment. Additionally, the other key aspect, or Fortinet's advantage when it comes to SD branch solution offering. So if you see a competition, we can easily win over or win against our competition when you offer SD branch solutions, where you have a FortiGate firewall and switches from Fortinet and access points. So basically, allowing your customers to have single pane of management managing your branch location from a FortiGate firewall. So additionally, you can also have a centralized deployment options where all your branch locations from a SD branch point of view can be managed from a centralized location. You can have a template-based configuration through Forti Manager. You can have, or you can offer PCI compliant reporting or a detailed reporting from Forti Analyzer. You can also have a IOC indication of compromise component to see if there are any devices who are already compromised and connected to your network, or a piece of network access control can be introduced here, where to profile or onboard or gain visibility of your endpoint devices. So not only that, additionally, if you look at different needs, different architecture. So when you look at from a customer requirement point of view, there could be a customer who's looking for, your customers looking for teleworker, especially today. In these days with, customers are offering, or enterprise users are working from home. So you can you can offer teleworker solutions, starting from teleworker solution, then moving on to different requirement from a different customer point of vertical point of view. So maybe it's a small branch office or a regional office, then moving on to a retail or a warehouse requirement. But then apart from that, you also have a really high dense environment. So you can see the capacity from starting the teleworker, where teleworker could be a one user connecting from home, moving on to the university, where thousands of users with thousands of devices connecting to the wireless infrastructure. So when you have this, the flow is basically, when you have a lower the density, the lower the complexity. But if you have higher number of devices, that means you're going to have more and more complex environment when you are introducing thousands of access points to manage your thousands of wireless client devices. So it is much easier when you have a small number of access points to manage and deploy. But it really makes a huge difference when you have really high density deployments or challenging environments when it comes to typically complex RF environments when you're deploying for such large deployments. So looking at the customer, different use case or different solution architects, we can definitely say that yes, one size does not fit for all. Take an example, we can't really tell a customer that, okay, we only have a controller-based solution. If you want to allow your customers to connect from home, then let the customer have let a teleworker have a controller and an access point installed at home. But that's not possible. That's not doable. But it's same case if you have, let's say, a distributed architect where customer needs 3 to 5 access points per site, but we can't sell a controller platform to go along with 3 or 5 access points. Same applies when you have thousands of devices. We don't want to manage them, over a cloud, but instead, the preferred mode of deployment is on-premise controller-based platform where you can centrally manage all the devices. So let's look at the different use cases. So integrated, when we refer to the integrated, that allows you to do a single pane of management and one box solution where you can use your existing customer firewall to act as a wireless LAN controller, and you can gain or take advantage of hardware acceleration on the ASIC chipset of Fortinet devices, along with the award-winning FortiGuard service protection on the wireless platform. Plus large multi-site network deployments for multiple locations. You can position this, or you can offer this solution for all the sensitive verticals or all the sensitive customers. Apart from that, you can have a single pane of deployments through Forti Manager, where in case of distributed or multi-site deployments. And controller-based deployments, in case of controller-based deployments, as I referred earlier, it's a very specific to the vertical where customers are looking for possibly, if you're going with a healthcare where your healthcare needs a certification from Dragger, right? Or if you're going for a manufacturing plant where things are a relatively open area where one AP could see all the neighboring access points. So such large deployments are customers who wants to deploy or who wants to run voice applications over wireless. So that could be one of the use cases where we are going to propose wireless LAN controller solution. But don't lead the communication of existing partners who knows the virtual cell story. So don't just go or depend on virtual cells point of solution approach, but it can also do a native cell deployment on Fortinet wireless LAN controller that we are going to see that during the demo. And this has a simplified centralized Wi-Fi management. And moving on to the Forti AP Cloud. So this allows you to do the ease of deployment. Basically, there's no controller, on-premise controller or a FortiGate. So your controller is hosted on the cloud. And when it comes to the management, it's a cloud-based management, Forti cloud-based management, and there is no, no licensing is required. And no on-premise controllers required. So just what you need is a Forti AP, which is registered under your Forti Cloud account. So additionally, now let's take, we have seen that 3 different solution platform, but additionally, when I, focus towards integrated platform, so you can take advantage. If you compare any enterprise grade customer controllers today in the market, they hardly offer you features like what we offer on an integrated platform. Features like natively integration with SD-WAN deployments, built-in fabric connectors on your wireless LAN controller, packet capture, other features like traffic shaping and advanced routing features, along with web filtering or UTM filtering, plus the deployment mode on across the platforms, whether you want to have them this on a hardware appliance-based controller on a VM platform, or it could be on a cloud platform. Almost all the cloud platforms are supported. So it's a choice of a customer where they want to deploy or host the controller. Additionally, on a firewall, if you compare again Fortinet wireless integrated platform and other solutions in the market or our competitors, what they can do in terms of solution offering, when it comes to our advantage, We have built-in rogue AP monitoring, additional features, advanced wireless LAN features within the FortiGate firewall. So if you see features like IDS intrusion detection, and then you can have block intra SSID traffic. So the communication between two hosts connected on a same SSID, and then you can also limit the number of stations per SSID, Wi-Fi client monitoring. So basically, you have all the advanced tools, advanced wireless enterprise tools within the integrated platform. We
Yes,
do
Rashad.
support VLAN pooling. Sorry. And some of the integrated features, I mean, these are, I'm not going to go by line, but you can quickly have a look at the features. These are most commonly any enterprise grade controller that you look, features that you look at in the market today. So we do support multi-pre-shared key. We do support fast failover between for controller redundancy. Other features like deployment mode. We do offer tunnel, bridge, and mesh mode deployments. We do have remote access points. We do support client fingerprinting to know the type of OS running on endpoint device which is connected behind the wireless. So a lot of enterprise grade features you can see or you can find on an integrated platform itself. And moving on to the universal access point, just to remind you again, on a universal access point platform, the APs can be deployed or can be used across all the three management platforms of Fortinet, including integrated controller and cloud, which means you can have universal AP managed by a FortiGate, or you can have the same AP managed by a centralized on-premise controller, or we can use the same universal access point to be managed over FortiCloud. So it's a choice of deployment. Or let's take in another way, where you have a customer who is currently looking with a mid size of deployment with possibly a 50 access points, but tomorrow there is a plan to grow, and customer has a mindset, or the customer is expecting relatively a high density within the customer environment and planning to move or move from integrated or cloud to the controller platform. So the best choice is if you go and approach with a universal access point. Any given time, if customer is growing, the size of the client density is growing at customer side, then customer can choose a mode of deployment by just adding a controller, and they can start managing universal APs from a controller platform. So basically, we are too flexible in terms of solution offering, starting with if customers are looking from one AP to mid-size to large deployments with a controller-based deployments. And as a reminder, we have got three platforms again: integrated controller and FortiCloud from a different management point of view, while as AP management point of view. Some of the other things like that we need to consider in terms of our positioning, when you are working on a project. So one of the things when you want to decide on what is the best solution approach or what you need to propose to your customer, one of the key factor always depends.
Sahara, they will pay by end of this week. Once we get the money, we can start the billing. Yes, day after, yes. Day after tomorrow, Thursday, actually, confirmed. Okay. And they have, yes. They will prep this year. Okay. Regarding the BMB, go with the controller platform. As they me today morning, the guys there today, this week we will get the price.
I think Malik, can you please mute yourself?
Yeah, no issue with the hack now. خلاص. All the issues.
Yeah, Rafiq, I think you can continue now. Rafiq, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, you can continue. I guess Malik was on mute. I think you can continue now.
Okay, great. Thank you. If you want to
Hello,
manage
hi
them,
Rafiq.
yeah,
Rafiq, sorry, we are not able to hear your voice clearly.
1 second.
Ravi, can you confirm if you can hear Rafiq?
Not right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's clear
Yes,
now.
yes,
It's
better.
clear?
Thank you,
Okay,
Rafiq. Yeah.
no worries, no worries. All right, so just few positioning examples, just to, since you are not able to hear me, I just want to go back to the slide. In terms of, if let's say if you are participating on a RFP where customer has so a competition has already worked with the customer and they helped customer to draft the RFP, right? In such cases, what we can do is you can go back to the customer, or you can go back to when you go back to the customer, you can definitely challenge them with integrated platform with security fabric approach, where you can leverage the integration of wireless platform with Fortinet security fabric. In terms of number of site deployment, cloud on the cloud, there is no limit as such in terms of number of access point support on a cloud platform. And integrated can be okay, can be one of the use case per site deployment or centralized management. In case of per site deployment, let's say your customer has existing access points, existing FortiGate firewalls in most of the locations, then you can only introduce 40 APs that needs to be managed by existing FortiGate appliance. And on a controller platform, where you have relatively high density and tough RF conditions or RF environments, we can introduce a controller-based platform. But keep in mind, controller platform approach, where you want to introduce controller at every site, customer site, in a distributed deployment. I mean, that doesn't make sense because it's going to cost you a lot. And moving on, number of APs per site. In a distributed, again, there is no limit if you are managing them over the cloud. Integrated, that can manage up to 4096 in a tunnel mode deployment. If you're deploying the APs in a bridge mode, that can scale up to 8192. So if you look at for a controller has capacity starting with entry model 50 access point, and that can grow up to 3000 APs by support by a centralized controller model. So number of clients, basically cloud, there is no limit. Integrated has no limit again, but WLC depends on the size of the controller model. So we will look into that, when we see the sizing of our controller, or the products that are our controller models that are available in Fortinet's controller family. So this is a quick look at the increased capacity, the number of AP support increased on our new hardware. So if you look at FortiGate, FWF40 or FortiGate device. We support now. The new limit for number of AP support is about 16 number of access point. Moving on 80, which is from 632, it is increased to 64 now. So same way, FortiGate 100 series firewall will support up.
Hello, Rafiq. Again, we can't hear you.
Hello, Rafiq. We are still not able to hear your voice. Rafiq?
Ravi, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can
can
hear
hear
you
you.
now. Yes.
Great. Sorry, guys, for the interruption. Looks like I have some issue with my microphone. I change it quickly. So if you look at the traditional access layer approach, there are multiple points of point of products or solutions that we are trying to integrate. So traditional approach on access layer is patchwork together, where series of solutions from different vendors are trying to work together. As a result, this in general, this rarely gives you a good result, and those who are trying to manage them, it's a complexity because they need to have expertise on managing different platform. So combining everything makes your life simpler or easier, where you have a single pane of management firewall which does the switching and wireless integrated on a same firewall platform. So where you can see all the other functionalities or point of solution features are integrated in one. So FortiGate can have your web filtering, application control, VPN, and so on. is within the FortiGate appliance, and we can have a single pane of management here. And same time, your customer can actually have the lower cost of ownership or lower cost of operational cost in overall. So let's quickly look at the topology or the deployment mode. So what do you see here? A typical deployment in an integrated platform where you have 40 switches which are connected behind the FortiGate firewall, and access points are connected to your switch, where the APs are sourcing power from your PoE switch ports. And if you see the traffic flow, your data traffic, control traffic, and management traffic is forwarded to a centralized controller, which is your FortiGate UTM appliance acting as a wireless LAN controller in this case. So all your traffic is forwarded to the FortiGate appliance, and then from there it is forwarded to the to the next gateway or to the next next hop. So the real advantage of for integrated platform is integrated security, where you have a security appliance which is basically sitting between your security and access control, managing both the platforms along with your wireless. So there is no compromise on your access layer. You're managing all the access layer platform itself from a UTM appliance. So in terms of deployment, you can have a single pane of management switches and access point to a centralized FortiGate firewall, or you can have a centralized Forti Manager, which will allow you to deploy and manage all the branch locations from a single pane of management for multiple or distributed deployment. And when it comes to the sizing, there are different models available, starting with, depending, the capacity of number of access point is supported by the model of FortiGate appliance. So when you do the sizing or when you're working with customer, please make sure that you always refer to our data sheet numbers to know the exact number of APs supported by the respective FortiGate model. So in terms of interface creation, if you see the SSID, it's exactly similar to an interface that we create any interface that you create on FortiGate appliance. So the configuration and look and feel, you can see it's same. And additionally, on top of that, if you see the details of a SSID, so you have a SSID which is mapped to the service policies similar to your interface, where what is allowed, you're allowing internet to that user or blocking, along with you're enabling all the UTM features on the same SSID. So it's a similar interface, it's a similar interface configuration or similar, or you can have a uniform policies when you are creating or when you're integrating integrated platform, where you can have a common global policies for wired and UTM policies across wired and wireless platforms. And the integrated solution from Fortinet manages AP and switches from the same graphical user interface. And SSID or a switch VLAN, it's just it's a fabric that takes care of management or configuration of this SSID and VLAN interface. So from a visibility point of view, you are going to gain a complete visibility what is connected behind. So on my screen, what you see, the number of endpoint devices connected behind the access point or the switches connected to the FortiGate appliance. Additionally, you can also have in case of distributed deployments or SD branch deployments, you can offer your customer with a Forti Manager, which allows you to do a centralized management or a template-based configuration for all your wireless deployment, or you can do a centralized SSID configuration, or you can have a centralized ESSID configured and pushed across the branch locations, or you can even do a upgrade configuration change centrally from Forti Manager itself. Additionally, we also introduce IoT Guard device profiling or identification. So any IoT device that is connected behind your wired or wireless platform. So Forti
FortiGate as long as you have IoT subscription. So with the help of IoT subscription, FortiGuard is going to query this information in FortiGuard's database, where we are going to discover the type of device and profile that device accordingly. So let's move on to the dedicated RF controller, which is on-premise wireless LAN controller platform. So the key, sometimes you come across with a requirement where customers does not want to integrate your security in wireless into the security, where you don't want to. Basically, they want to have two silo platforms are acting independently or working independently, or sometimes it's a challenge because you have a separate team of security and you have a dedicated team for infrastructure, where where customer choice is not to merge together. So in such cases, you can still offer a dedicated RF platform where IT does not need to have access to the security firewalls. And then this also have enhanced capabilities of virtual cell. We will discuss that in further slides. So form factor, you can have choice of deployment. You can offer your customers with an appliance, hardware appliance, and VM platform. When it comes to licensing, this is a key differentiator comparing to our competition. We don't need any licensing on the controller. The capacity or the support of number of access point depends on the controller model. And the AP model, which is supported by controller, is universal. So this is very important. Keep this in mind that only universal series access points can be managed through a centralized or on-premise controller. There is no way if you introduce FAP or FAPS model of access point and try to integrate or try to manage them through a centralized controller, that is not possible. So the only for the AP model that works with controller is universal access point. So it's a typical example for a campus-wide deployment where you have, you could also have a centralized deployment managing multiple access points. Even in case of distributed architect, you can still offer as long as your APs can reach to the centralized controller and they can register, and you can do the local bridging for user traffic. So the only management traffic can be forwarded to a centralized WLAN controller. So a typical example of deployment, how it looks like. So in this case, you can see you have a similar case where APs are sourced power from a PoE switch. The user traffic at the endpoint or clients, they are connected behind the wireless access point. The traffic is being forwarded to your access points through a secure tunnel. The traffic is being forwarded to the wireless LAN controller. From wireless LAN controller, it is forwarded to the next destination or to the internet via your next generation firewall. In this case, keep in mind there is no dependency of 40 switches, whether you're using 40 APs or universal access points. So there is no dependency. This works with any third-party vendor. Maybe if the customer has existing Cisco switches, we can have our APs working with Cisco switches. So there is no dependency on that. Same case, if you are selling a wireless LAN controller, there is no dependency of having FortiGate firewall at customer side. The customer may have any firewall. It could be from a competition, Palo Alto or Sophos firewall. The customer already has. So there is no need of replacing that or a direct dependency on that. Okay. Additionally, you have a wireless LAN manager, which does a centralized management in terms of distributed deployment, or for customers who needs advanced administrative tools for proactive and reactive troubleshooting purpose. So this option is based on Fortinet wireless LAN controller managed. So a traditional wireless LAN controller to manage access points and wireless connections. This deployment is ideal for large deployments, high density wireless environments where there are many users who are who's looking for roaming applications or who's looking for mobility, where they require a highly mobile environment with high bandwidth requirements, where they are running applications like low latency applications, such as they want to have voice and video running over wireless platform. Within this deployment type, you have the options to choose. When it comes to deployment, you can have a channel plan that is filtered through Fortinet. The channel plan that actually basically fits best with the controller platform, while other vendors have limited multi-channel architect. So we will refer to that in the next slide. The solution deployment options that you have on a centralized controller platform. So you also have ability to choose which security options. We support all the enterprise grade security features on a controller platform. So we will see that during our demo. So as I mentioned, it's a traditional wireless LAN controller, a typical deployment where you have a centralized wireless LAN controller. In a distributed architect where you have multiple sites, but you are managing all the controllers from a wireless LAN manager. So it's a single pane of management, managing your wireless access points and wireless controller from a centralized location and through FortiManager. And this has some unique features or patent technology where you can have APs deployed in a virtual cell or single channel. Not only that, we also have a similar deployment options where you can choose to deploy or go with multi-channel or microcell deployment. And along with that, we also have built-in spectrum analysis and a unique feature or capability with service assurance features along with WIPs and WITs. All these features are fully loaded on the controller, like features like advanced features like policy enforcement, spectrum analysis, rogue AP detection. So such features, they even these advanced features on a controller, they don't require any additional license on the controller. As I mentioned earlier, the capacity that the number of AP support depends on the capacity or the model of controller that you're proposing to your customer or that you're offering. So it's a key differentiator when you compare Fortinet wireless BOM, a controller BOM with competition. So here we can see the key difference here with our competition. Fortinet access points are basically for us what we need: a hardware appliance, the access point, controller, and support. Whereas our competitors, they need a access point, controller along with AP license if they want any additional features like if they want to use spectrum features on a controller, or if they want to use policy enforcement on a controller. So that requires additional license on a controller. So whereas the AP license and advanced feature license is not required for Fortinet wireless LAN controller. This will greatly help your customer to reduce the OPEX operational cost when they go for a renewal next year. And looking at the deployment modes, Fortinet offers multi-channel or a legacy mode of deployment where you can choose multiple the APs with different channels deployed in a different channel across different channels, where it's traditional approach of any microcell or multi-channel vendor. Then we also have something called virtual cell single channel architect, which is unique or patented technology to Fortinet, where you can have all the APs deployed on a same channel or a single channel. Additionally, we have a virtual cell and channel layering approach where customer can have a dedicated layer of channel, and you can map this dedicated layer of channel towards an application. For example, I can have, or you can offer your customer to have 36 as a channel at 5 gigahertz to run only voice applications, whereas 44 you can dedicate it for internal internal SSID or your corporate SSID purpose, and same time you can have the other channel, dedicated channel for your guest devices. So in this case, in this segment, the idea behind this, you can ensure that if you're in case you're running, your customer is running some really low latency or some critical applications, especially if you're selling our solution in a healthcare environment where they have life critical applications running, right? So you can choose mode of deployment where you can dedicate a RF layer with to a specific application or a service that customer is running. So in this way, we are not only segregating or doing a segmentation on a network layer, but also you're doing a segmentation of user traffic at a RF layer. So quick look at the controller models. So we have different controller models starting with 50D, 200, 500, 1000, and 3000. So what you refer to 50, 200, so basically that's the capacity of a number of AP supported by a controller model, starting with 50 AP, 200 for a mid-size, and for a for a large model we have 3 different controllers starting with FWLC 500D. Supports up to 500 access point and 7,500 concurrent devices. And if you look at the 3000D, supports up to 3,000 access point. And starting with 500D, you can have dual power supply on the controller. Additionally, all these platforms, all these controllers are available on a VM platform. So it is a choice of deployment, or if customer want to have appliance or or wants to deploy on a VM platform, you can decide on. And on a management platform, we have 2 different models. Basically, this is limited to the capacity that we offer. So FWM 100D, that supports up to 1000 access points with 5000 client devices. Whereas if you have 1000D FWM, Fortinet Wireless LAN Manager, so you can support up to 15,000 access points and 75,000 clients. And it has a storage of 2 terabyte storage. And additionally, you can deploy them on a VM platform, irrespective if you're running Hyper-V, VMware EXI, or on a Linux KVM platform. So now we have seen the Forti Manager offering. Now, in terms of Forti wireless LAN management solution offering, it gives you a complete inventory of number of controllers managed by a centralized location, or number of controllers running in your customer environment from a single point of management, and the number of access points. You could do the grouping of access point based on the location, based on the floor. It could be static or dynamic grouping that you want to assign. And you can do a centralized software management, or you can do upgrade or downgrade of your application. Similarly, you can do a complete detailed monitoring. You can have complete network monitoring, AP monitoring, the health of your access point, the health of your Wi-Fi from a centralized management point of view. And we can have a template-based configuration where you can do a centralized template-based configuration, and you can push the configuration back towards the controller. And it also has a detailed, proactive and reactive troubleshooting tools where you can go back, always retain the customer's user session and look into the logs, what exactly went wrong. If to retain the session information, along with a detailed troubleshooting tools available on Forti Wireless LAN Manager, where you can have a rogue AP detection. You have VIPs built in on Forti Wireless LAN Manager. We have service assurance module on Forti Wireless LAN Manager. So basically, a lot of troubleshooting, advanced administrative, along with detailed reports. For example, the customer wants to have station reports, AP reports, network inventory reports, Wi-Fi health reports. So different type of reports that customer wants to generate. Then you can have a detailed report generated through Forti Wireless LAN Manager. Also keep in mind that on wireless LAN controller, the logs are limited. So if you want to go back and retain any historical information, you can't do that. You need to have a wireless LAN manager to get the historical reports or historical information on your network. Additionally, we also have an app available for iOS. Very soon we will introduce for Android platform as well. So you could actually monitor your wireless LAN manager on your fingertips by installing Forti Wireless LAN Manager app on your mobile device. Additionally, from the upgrade of 8.5, we also introduced Fortinet Wireless LAN Manager to manage your FortiGate AP. So the idea behind this, we have a one common centralized wireless LAN management platform where you can manage integrated as well as controller-based access points from a single console or single management platform. And now even the wireless LAN manager, wireless LAN management platform can integrate with the, if your customer has the existing Forti manager, we can integrate wireless manager with the Forti manager. And in terms of access point, or access point that we carry in our product portfolio. So we have different combinations, like you can see, starting with 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, 802.11 AC, Wave 1. Wave 1 is, I don't really see that we are selling Wave 1 anymore. So mainly we are focusing now on Wave 2 and AX access point. So we have different combinations, with to meet the customer requirement, where then they're looking for a high density access point or a medium density or a low density access point, depending on what customer needs, along with internal antenna, external antenna, and also we have outdoor IP67 rated access points that can be deployed in a harsh weather conditions, and they are IP67 certified. Additionally, we got some special purpose access points, like designed for hospitality purpose. For instance, you can see FAP U24JE, that's designed for a hospitality customer that has additional Ethernet ports. So in case of hospitality customers, they can place the AP in every guest room, and along with that, they can also have additional ports that can be connected to a wired laptop in a hospitality or a guest room, or you can use one of the port to source power for your IP phone. So there could be a different use case, or you can run other services or connect other wired applications on the switch, on the access point port. Okay, so we just to before we move on to that look into that example. So Fortinet wireless LAN controller. So when you refer to our controller, we have enterprise grade features, but at the same time we don't compromise on security. So now Fortinet wireless LAN controller is integrated with Fortinet security fabric. So let's look at the quick example here. So in this, one of the client device is trying to access a malicious website connecting behind a wireless SSID or behind a controller. So when a user is trying to access a malicious website, the traffic is detected by the FortiGate and the traffic is blocked by the FortiGate. Now, when FortiGate blocks the traffic, FortiGate is generating the security logs, and these logs are being forwarded to the FortiAnalyzer. With the FortiAnalyzer, with a license of IOC, FortiAnalyzer does the computing of those logs. And if FortiAnalyzer, let's say, that detects that with the indication of trust, detects that the device or the client is compromised. So what FortiGate does that FortiGate sends a REST API request to the wireless LAN manager to ban this client, or to ban this station or stop this client connecting to the network. So this is like a seamless automated quarantine flow, where something similar to a NAC functionality without any man intervention. Looking at your logs, Fortinet is taking an action or sending a REST API call to the wireless LAN manager to disconnect the client from the network. So it's a typical integration example. You have multiple options. You can have when you detect a compromised host, we can have different options configured. Maybe if you just want to notify administrator, quarantine that device, quarantine block the device, or you want to move that client to the quarantine VLAN. So there could be different actions that you can define, or different workflow that you can define here. Okay, so quickly let's look at the cloud AP management. So form factor is hosted on a cloud. So your control resides on FortiCloud. There is no licensing required. You can manage any model or any series or any family of access point, whether your customer has FAP, FortiAP, or you have Forti Universal Access Point or Forti Smart AP. So irrespective of any model, they are compatible and they can be managed from a Forti cloud. Additionally, if the customer doesn't have Forti care contract, then the only challenge is not able to retain the advanced logs. Okay, so there is an advanced license available if you want to get historical logs, or a long-term logs from Forti cloud management. So this is another example where you have multiple remote sites. You can have a centralized management through Forti cloud, and customer can manage and can have seamless configuration or similar SSID broadcasting in all the location with the same authentication mechanism. So we can pretty much do that. What you could do from a centralized controller. Additionally, if if you remember
Rafiq, again, your voice is breaking.
the our industry's most secure access point, then you can offer them a smart access point where you could actually enable all the UTM features on AP level, and they are protected against the FortiGuard database, or they gain subscription from or they gain updates from the FortiGuard database. Additionally, we also have a 3G, 4G, Forti extenders. These extenders can be seamlessly integrated with your FortiGate firewall. You can have, similar to a WAN interface, you can have the similar configuration. This was one of the key differentiator when we are talking about in a harsh weather conditions. So moving on to a quick high how frequently that user visits a mall, what are the areas or which path that user takes, right? And then you can generate
Hello, Rafiq.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's
All right. Present solution, you can understand the journey of your customers, basically their journey through the location tells you journey, and same time you can have a presence analytics to get the the trends about number of visitors, number of footfall, visitors by type of devices, by age group, if they are integrated onboarding through social media platform, and total number of users, total user count. Same time you can do a comparison also if the customer has multiple sites with running with Forti Presence. So Forti Presence, you can have this on a cloud platform. So currently Forti Presence cloud platform with a light version supporting up to 5 sites is totally free of cost. So you can integrate Forti Presence with all the three platforms. You can have your controller integrated with Forti Presence. You can have your integrated or cloud platform integrated with Forti Presence cloud solution. So this can give you presence analytics, like take an example. This could be a mall area, so you can know with the heat maps, the high density area. Basically, you can see that where are the areas of user density you're seeing at any given time. So maybe it's a food court area where you're seeing during the lunch hours, you're seeing a huge footfall in that area, or you want to track a user or generate a report about a user pattern, so the path that user is taking. Or if you want to find a specific device on a map or a user at any given time, you can do a search and you can manually track that user. And definitely, all the area of interest are not same. There might be your customer has different areas. It could be a specific area depending on a retail outlet. It could be it could be a supermarket, or it could be in a mall. It could be a play area. It could be a food court. So it gives you a complete presence analytics defining with respect to the area that you define on Forti Presence. So portal, this is a customized Captive portal. You can see, it's a fully customizable. Again, you can change the background image. You can have integration with Google and Google Plus and Facebook for social media authentication platform purpose. So let's quickly move on to the Forti switches. So one of the key challenge at access layer, the number of devices, as we discussed in the beginning, there are a lot of, we are seeing more and more devices connecting to the access layer. This could be, the era of IoT, where you have devices connecting behind your access layer. On top of that, these are tiny devices. They are very efficient and they are built for a special purpose, but they have no, brain on it or no mechanism where you can't run an endpoint protection on those devices. So we need a way we need a way of protection to secure them, secure different type of devices on access layer. And same time, when you have multiple platforms or multiple kind of products, take an example, you have a firewall from Fortinet or a controller from Cisco and on a switching platform from HP. So it's a point of products where you are trying to integrate them, or the design or the solution design is done in a first place, but then we are trying to apply security on top of that. So always when we take this approach, there are loopholes that we usually avoid or overcome. Yeah, so moving on to the Fortinet security fabric. The Fortinet security fabric provides full protection across your digital attack surface or digital infrastructure, including starting from multi-point of products, including your internal next generation firewall or your core firewall or internal segmentation firewall. It could be anything, but along with the fabric management center that provides a single pane of glass for simplifying your operations, enabling automation and workflow. Then any point of time, you have complete visibility and control of all traffic and threats at any point across the attack surface, from edge to the core side. So if you see the traditional network architecture and network design that builds out of the network as the first place, and then we try to put the layer of security on top of that. So Fortinet has a security-driven networking approach where that enables convergence of security and access layer together. So the network access layer is designed within the integrated security framework. So it's a kind of framework where your security and access layer is integrated through FortiOS and FortiOS on the FortiGate, and we are managing using a proprietary tunneling protocol. Okay, and And when you add a network management into the, basically to the FortiGate firewall, so you get this, with the you can have the same set of same level of protection or security. So it's basically it's a logical extension of your access layer when you integrate your network with FortiGate. So as you can see, secure access solution includes different combinations of Fortinet products that relate to wired and wireless and access layer security. But in any combination, the goal is very clear for us that okay, security is always put in the first priority, and at the endpoint devices, and to ensure that the endpoint devices are not compromised, and that compromise will not, or even if they are compromised or connected to the network and they are not, propagate to the core, or it prevents you from east-west infection. And if you look at the traditional solution topology, that might looks like 40 APs, 40 gate, and 40 switches, but leveraging that integration through single pane of management, we are managing everything through a FortiLink, where you're managing your access points and switches. And additionally, for a distributed or SD branch deployments, we can have a centralized management for for your and complete knock and sock operations centrally, along with centralized management for your wired and wireless platform. Yeah, so Fortinet Secure Access Ethernet, basically the proprietary protocol that we run between the FortiGate and 40 switches to discover, manage switches is called as FortiLink. So FortiLink is the protocol that we run between 40 APs and 40 switches. So we are going to see that the FortiLink as a protocol and managing 40 switches and 40 APs through the centralized FortiGate firewall with an integrated example. And additionally, it doesn't mean that when you have a deployment or you're competing or working against competition, it does not mean that you need to only take approach of integrated platform or FortiLink deployment. There are many use cases or instances where, let's say, a customer doesn't have a FortiGate firewall, or he's not a FortiGate customer, but looking for a revamp of switching infrastructure. So in this case, you can still propose, you can have a 40 switches deployed in a standalone mode, unlike any switching infrastructure. In case of, if you want to have layer 3 functionality on a switch, then you need to introduce a layer 3 license. A layer 3 license is required on a switch. Whereas in case of FortiLink managed by the FortiGate or 40 switches managed by the FortiGate, the layer 3 interface is configured on a FortiGate firewall. So the routing is taken care, or routing is certainly done by the FortiGate firewall. In this case, we don't require a license. Additionally, in case of distributed architect, where your customer has multiple remote locations, but they are looking for a platform, a common platform to manage them centrally. So one choice is you can always go back and manage them through FortiManager by having FortiGate integration. If not, then you could also manage 40 switches through the FortiCloud platform. So we can manage up to 4 switches at free of cost or without any license on FortiCloud, a FortiCloud switch management. So let's look at the switching solution offering. So we got different 4 types of or 4 series of switches. Small to mid, and then we have or you could consider the small to campus wide switching platform. So here you could see the 100 series, 200 series, 400 and 500 series respectively. So the key difference here on this switching platform or the model of series, or you can make out the difference is the capacity of the number of uplinks, right? So in 100 series we have uplink capacity of 1 gig ports, 2 to 4, and then typically you have 4 ports, SFP ports uplink capacity on 200 series, which are mid-level 40 switches. Whereas if you look at enterprise switching models, they are 400 and 500 models respectively, with uplink support of 10 gig on 400 series, whereas 500 has 40 gig uplinks as well, 240 gig uplinks. And looking at the data center firewalls or top of the rack firewalls, we have 2 different types of high-end switching models, which is 1000 series and 3000 series. 1000 series has 2 models, 1024D, which has 24 ports, 10 gig, 24 10 gig ports, and has also has 2 40 gig uplinks. And if you look at 1000 series, 1048 E, which is a 48 port 10 gig switch with uplink 100 gig uplink, 400 gig uplink. So if we see here with 1000 series, in 1000 series we have 32 100 gig Ethernet ports and slots, and with starting with 1000 series we have a hot swappable power supply support. And in case of OT environments or industrial environments, we do have 1124 PoE switch and 124D switches. So basically it's a 12 port switch, 8 Ethernet ports and 4 SFP ports, whereas and it's a PoE plus switch, whereas 124D is a 16 port Ethernet and 4 ports additionally SFP ports. So basically in terms of capacity, in terms of meeting a customer requirement, we have all the requirements starting with entry model, where basically the sizing depends on the traffic at a customer site. So for the small deployments, starting with 100 series, moving on to 200, 400 and 500 respectively, with all the combinations, non-PoE, PoE and full PoE power budget. Additionally, we also have multi-gig switches to support AX or multi-gig multi-gig interface switches, so access points that can be source power through multi-gig switches. So as a conclusion, 40 switches are they have support for number of device support in terms of bandwidth requirement to meet the customer bandwidth requirement or the port density, along with the integration with security fabric through the FortiLink, and a single pane of management, whether you do the management through over a FortiGate firewall or the management through a centralized Forti manager in a multi-site environment. All right, so let's take a quick overview of FortiWise solution. FortiWise solution comes from the acquisition of TalkSwitch, which is a well-known vendor in Canada and North America market. We did acquisition in 2011, which is almost 10 years now. So there has been a lot of enhancement done on the product after the acquisition. We have introduced new hardware platform. We have introduced interactive web GUI interface management. Right, there's no need of application to do the IPPB configuration through an application. There's no dependency for that. And we have introduced some new gateways, new phone models along with that during our journey. So starting with the model, we have the low-end model that supports our SMB targeted vertical model, which is a desktop model that supports up to 20 extension between the capacity of 20 to 50, depending on the model that you select. So FVE 20 and FVE 50. Moving on to 100. 100 is basically the model where your enterprise features are we treat that as an enterprise grade IPPBX. So it's a 1U form factor. We have different models under mid size. So we have FEE 100E and then we have 300 and 500 respectively. So it's the same approach. When you look at the model, if it is 100E, it supports up to 100 SIP extensions and different capacity of SIP trunks. Okay, and if you go for a large enterprise deployment, so we support on a VM platform, we can scale up to 50,000 SIP extensions on a 40 IPPBX platform. So it's a choice of customer. Starting with 100 FEE or an enterprise model, we offer 40 voice platform on a VM platform as well. So it's a choice whether customer wants to have them on a hardware appliance or a VM platform. So one keynote here, just to remember the number of extension capabilities. As I referred to you earlier, FEE 100E supports up to 100 SIP extensions with 16 SIP trunks. 200 supports up to 200 SIP extensions and 24 SIP trunks. Moving on, 500. So again, the size requirement might vary depending on customer requirement. Maybe the number of extensions are the number of required extensions are relatively low for a customer requirement, but whereas customer is looking for more number of SIP trunk support on a PBX. So maybe in that case we have to do the right sizing. So we need to understand exactly what customer is looking from a sizing point of view. Additionally, you can have our PBX deployed on a cloud, since it is available on a VM platform. And we do offer PBX on a cloud as or 40 voice as a service, but that service is available only for North America and Canada market only, or limited to North America and Canada today. Moving on to the gateways, we have different types of gateways. We do have traditional, if you got traditional lines connecting. So before I move on to the gateway, you can look at the models, entry model. If you see FEE2E and FEE4E, the main difference here with 2 and 4, that's basically the number of FXO lines or the number of traditional telephone lines that you can connect on the PBX. And if we see FEE 6 and 8, so that's basically the capacity of number of FXO lines that you can directly terminate on our IPPBX. Additionally, if you look at the previous models, the high enterprise grade models, like 100, 500, and 3,000 different models, they don't have a built-in, or we don't take an approach of other vendors in the market where you have to physically install a line card as an interface to the existing PBX. So what you could do is you can have a voice gateway depending on the number of lines or number of trunks that customer is looking for. So basically, we have FXO, the traditional gateway, which is FG008, supports up to 8 traditional FXO lines. And in case if you are using FXS, or if you have a customer who has an existing analog traditional telephone line deployment and they still want to continue, or they are in a process of migration where they want to use or retain certain analog lines, in that case you can terminate these analog lines through FXS gateway. And we also have 2 models on a PRI or ISDN gateway that supports that can take input for 1 and 2 respectively. So if customer is looking for a redundancy or customer is looking for more than 1 PRI gateway, then you can offer the 2 FG02 that has support for up to 2 PRI gateways. So if you look at the administrative management console, it's a very interactive. You could do all the configuration and management of IPPBX from the web GUI interface itself. So we will see that this during the demo. And in terms of voice support or a voice mailbox for your customer, the customer can log into the his voice mailbox by logging in using his extension detail, and he can pull out information about the number of voicemails that he has received, or the facts that he has received, or if you want to go back and retain the call information or call records, or if any recording is enabled, then he can retain the recording by logging into his folder on 40 voice IPPBX. And also this can do integration with your LDAP, or we allow LDAP integration here. And on the same platform, you could actually enable call center features. Like all you need is on the same IPPBX enterprise grade PBX, we need additional licenses depending on number of agent support that you're looking for. So it's basically on a call center solution. We do have a web-based console. One second, guys. Okay, so web-based console with other functionalities like dynamic call routing, call distribution, call center, dynamic call center agent allocation, or skill-based routing based on the agent skills. You can actually flow the calls. So it could be or taking the feedbacks from your customer. So multiple options are in features like any enterprise grade PBX that you're looking for. We do have similar features, or even 40 IPPBX has a built-in reporting feature where you can have a custom report look to see the performance of your call center agent, the number of calls he has accepted, the number of calls he has attended, how frequently he has resolved the issue, the time, all the details. You can generate a detailed report from 40 voice PBX itself. Additionally, for even the user extension or desk phone, you can go back always and generate a customized report or detailed report to see the number of call flow, or to see the number of received calls, or answered or unanswered call, or for reporting purpose, you can get a detailed report here. Additionally, our PBX is is ready to integrate, or it is compatible, or with all the industry leading property management solutions. So in case you're selling 40 voice in a hospitality vertical, then we have our IPPBX integration with hospitality. Keep in mind, when you integrate our IPPBX, or you want to enable call center features, such features requires additional license on a PBX. So depending on number of rooms that you want to cover from PBX, or number of extensions that you are managing through or integrating through our 40 voice IPPBX, we need to consider the number of equal number of licenses on 40 voice IPPBX. And moving on to the phones, we have different model of phones depending, mainly these are HD quality or audio quality phones, depending on mainly on a price bench, or the models depending on entry model phones, including a touchscreen phone or reception phone with additional function keys, or we have some phones which are specially designed for hospitality vertical phones. So we have different variety of phones, and including the touch screen or executive phone. So multiple combinations, different combinations we do have. Additionally, when it comes to the cordless phones, we have we do have cordless phones that requires a base station and a cordless phone. And you can also introduce conferencing room solution to your customers, and this can also integrate with your wireless, or you can you can integrate your ongoing call or your phone call and use your conferencing phone as a as a loudspeaker or a microphone by integrating your phone over a Bluetooth. So this has various functionalities on the conferencing room solution or conferencing room phone. And moving on to the soft agent or soft client, we do support pretty much all the endpoints, starting with iOS if you are running Android or Windows or Linux platform. Your customers can or users can register, or they can dial in, or they can register their SIP extension from the within the premises or working remotely. So you can have your SIP agent register to your HQ. So you don't miss corporate calls, and if the extension is mobile, so wherever the user he's in a position to answer all the calls on his all the calls that are transferred to his desk phone. So these are features that we already referred, just for you to know, like support in terms of PMS integration. We top vendors like Microfedulous is one of the integration vendor that we support, or if you have Mitel PMS solution, that can also be integrated. And features like DND and guest name display on our phones with hospitality integration, or wake up call, or out of service status, or different use cases are there basically when you integrate the hospitality management with our IPPBX solution. So this is one of the example with a PMS phone. Then you have administrative portal. There are phones inside the room. So this is going to give you the room status, minibar status information, wake up, and so on from PM integration point of view. So let's move on to quickly Forti Recorder. So Forti Voice as a solution, we have multiple components as a part of our solution. So looking at Forti camera solution, Forti Recorder is a heart of our solution, which does recording, or which receives recording from all the cameras and stores locally on a Forti Recorder. So currently we have two different models in terms of recorder. One, the low end, which supports up to 16 channel or 16 cameras, and the other one supports up to 32. So moving on to, we also have a VMware platform where you can manage all the cameras through a VM Forti Recorder. So let's look at the different model of cameras that we have. So you can see we got different type of cameras: bullet cameras, dome cameras, PTZ cameras. All the combinations of cameras are available within our product line when it comes to physical security solution offering. And integration with third-party cameras, we do support integration with third-party cameras as long as the camera is ONVF compliant. So additionally, when you integrate these cameras with Forti Recorder, that requires a license on Forti Recorder to manage these cameras to be managed by Forti Recorder. Forti Recorder, apart from Forti Recorder, we also have a Forti Central video management solution. This solution allows you to have centralized repository of multiple locations. So for example, if you want to have a quick view of some critical areas on one of the screens, so you can define that. You can have a real-time timeline. You can go back and retain the logs. You can export them. It's basically a centralized management platform where you have distributed deployment with a recorder and cameras in every branch location. So you could actually centrally map them or centrally manage them from a centralized management video recorder management platform. And you can also generate a recording on that. So it additionally, this gives you additional analytics like people counting. It helps you to do the people counting, heat maps of density. Apart from that, it can give you facial recognition and object recognition along with incident alarms if you're integrating with a building management solution or any third-party solutions. So let's look at quickly on the camera models what we have. So we carry this FD40 camera that can be, it's a dome camera, fixed dome camera that can be installed in a indoor or outdoor deployments. The second model is mini box indoor camera, which is 4 megapixels. So sorry, 4 megapixel that has a built-in microphone. Then we do have an outdoor or speed dome camera for outdoor deployment purpose. This can give you, it's a pan-tilt zoom, supports pan-tilt zooms, and can scale or support 30x zoom on the camera. So moving on to the new cameras that we recently introduced. So this is a new addition to 40 cameras, 40 new addition to 40 cameras family. So FD50B, which is a 5 megapixel camera with the infrared capture from a distance of 65 feet that can operate up to from -22 Fahrenheit to 140 Fahrenheit temperature. So approximately, we're talking about 70-degree temperature, and we do have bullet cameras for outdoor deployment purpose, and we have PTZ pan-tilt zoom dome cameras for indoor and outdoor purpose with support of 5 megapixel motorized PTZ, which is pretty much easy to deploy or install, along with built-in microphone. So hope the session was informative. So let's quickly jump on demo. Before I move on to the demo, I'll just quickly review your questions, and then we can continue with the demo. So when it comes to 40AP cloud management, no, there is no license required unless you want to enable advanced features. For example, if you just want to manage the access point from 40 cloud, there is no license required. But advanced functionality or features, like if you want to have login reporting retention period of over a 1 year, then yes, you need a licensing. Or if you want to tweak the data rates on a AP configuration that we will see during the lab or demo, that requires a license. Or additionally, if you want to allow multicast services like running Bonjour service in your on a cloud managed access point, that requires a license. But additionally, if you are using social media platform authentication, or you are using self portal, guest portal onboarding, you're managing it from a pre-shared key or radius integration and reporting for up to 1 month of duration retention period, then there is no license required. Absolutely, you could manage 40 AP smart APs on the cloud, 40C as well as as both can be managed on over a 40 cloud platform. So consider that all the 40 AP models can be managed over 40 cloud platform. The only difference here, when you are using or deploying APs with a controller, you need to consider that we need universal access point. Apart from that, the APs, whether they are smart series or whether they are C series or whether they are universal access point, they can be managed on both cloud as well as the integrated platform. But in case of 40 S series access point, which are smart series, as I mentioned earlier, you need 40 guard subscription on the access point. Absolutely, you could manage both the APs from 40 gate as well. Are we expecting any more questions, or we can move on to the demo?
I think we can move.
Okay, great. Ravi, are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, I can see FortiGate GUI.
So from a deployment point of view, one of the question, one of the point related to the question, all the FortiGate firewalls has a built-in WLAN controller feature. There is no dependency of running FortiGate subscription on the FortiGate firewall. Any firewall you could always go back and you can enable wireless LAN controller feature on the wireless LAN on the FortiGate firewall itself. So to do that, you need to just go to the feature visibility. It's like I have issues with my browser. Okay. So you can see here the wireless LAN controller. So it's enabled now. So once the wireless LAN controller and switch controller is enabled on your 40 from your FortiGate firewall, you can see a wireless and switch controller here. So once you have the wireless and switch controller, so basically the deployment is pretty simple and easy. When you have a FortiGate firewall or FortiAP connected behind the firewall or any network, ensure that if you are using the old access point, older version, lower than older FortiOS, then probably you need to enable CAPA protocol because FortiLink requires a CAPA protocol in the backend. So now, if you go back to my interface configuration here, looking at let me quickly. So Fabric connector is basically in CapWap is now integrated with within Fabric connector. So ensure that if you want to manage a access point or the AP needs to be discovered to this via this interface, you need to enable CapWap or on an older version, or if you're running the new FortiOS version, so ensure that Forti Fabric is enabled. So once you do that, once you connect the access point, you're going to see the number of the AP that needs to be managed by the FortiGate firewall. So now currently what you see from this firewall point of view, we have one AP which is currently managed by the FortiGate firewall. Similarly, the other AP which is waiting or due for management or due for approval. So when you connect the AP, they will automatically discover. There are ways, like for example, if you want to do automated profiling, what you could do is you can create a profile well in advance and add the serial number of that access point. So whenever the AP is connected over the network, the AP is automatically added. Other option is I can just right click and say authorize. Once I authorize the AP comes under FortiGate management. Now, once FortiGate management is done, you're going to gain complete information from a monitoring point of view, the status of access point, the number of APs for waiting for joining, or the number of APs that are currently being managed by the FortiGate firewall. The health of your radio at 2.4, health of your radio at 5 GHz band. So you can do that, comparatively your health, along with the client information like number of clients connected to the SSID, respective SSID, the type of client, the host name. For instance, my MacBook is connected here to voice SSID. On which interface it's connected to which channel. You can see that it's connected to 2.4. I have another client which is an Android client which is again connected at 2.4. So you can see the band distribution here and connected devices. and there is one client which is connected at there is one 11 there are two clients basically. They're connected at 11 AC, right? So in terms of configuration, as we referred to that earlier, so you could actually create a SSID. It's a similar interface configuration on FortiGate firewall. Just define your subnet here, allow the DHCP. So when you do the deployment, you have multiple options on from a FortiGate point of view. So we have tunnel mode deployment, bridge mode deployment, and mesh mode deployment. The key difference here, in case of tunnel mode deployment, all your management traffic and the user traffic and data traffic is forwarded to the centralized FortiGate firewall. In case of bridge mode, so only the management traffic is forwarded to the FortiGate firewall. The user traffic is basically bridged over the or the AP does the local bridging forwarded to the respective gateway, or the forwards to the gateway directly. And in case of mesh deployment, you could choose the mesh deployment option. So these are typically, if you see the SSID, you can create. It's very simple in terms of creation and management. And looking at the security modes or protocols that we support, you can see that we support all the enterprise-grade security protocols on the integrated platform. Basically, we support on all the three platforms. Okay, and additional things like if you want to do captive portal integration, so you could introduce captive portal. There is a built-in captive portal within FortiGate that you could use it, but for self-registration purpose or some advanced captive portal, you could always use it external captive portal. That could be a Authenticator acting as an external captive portal in your use case, and you can bind them to the groups. For instance, there is a user group group mapping that you can do it against the captive portal. Then additionally, you can also authenticate users against radius. You can quarantine the host. One of the examples where a compromised device is connected, or a client is trying to access a malicious website, so we could actually quarantine that host. You can also introduce VLAN polling option here. So this was a quick look at how the SSID can be created or defined within FortiGate. So moving back to the FortiAP management. So one of the key note here, when you create a profile, introduce AP, there is a default profile created. So ensure that the profile matches to the country region you leave. So basically, by default, if I go back to the AP profile settings, my AP profile settings, you can see that currently it is placed in the US, which is an incorrect country or region. So sometimes you might face issues if your country is not selected, a right country is not selected here. So this is one aspect. And additionally, the channels that you want to allow, this is basically the profile of your access point. So what you want to allow, what you want to do, what channels you want to allow on this AP, what channel width you want to define. You could create that as a profile here. Additionally, the access points, you can see, in case you don't want to use both the radios at the same time, allow only one radio to be used. Other radio, if you want to use that as a dedicated sensor or a monitor sensor, we could always do that. You can convert that radio into the sensor, and you can enable bits profile here, use default one, or create a manual one. Okay, this was a quick look, on from a wireless management point of view, integrated wireless management point of view. So moving on to FortiLink management or FortiLink switch management, you could see the number of switches currently. I have one switch which is currently managed. There is a switch connected behind, behind my core switch, or behind the switch which is currently managed by FortiLink. So if you go back to the FortiSwitch management or FortiSwitch ports, you can see that information here. So you could see that on port 24 there is a switch connected behind, and on port 23 my uplink is connected directly to the FortiGate, and you can see the icon of FortiLink. So basically FortiLink is running on this port. So on port 24, basically they are connected through a ISL link between between my 48 port and 24 port switch. So if once I authorize this switch, so so basically this switch is connected S224E is connected behind the D series switch. So this switch has automatically discovered by the 40 link. So now if I authorize this switch will join the topology, and we are going to see that you could do the centralized management and administration of that switch from FortiGate firewall itself. So I'll quickly allow or authorize this switch now to join the topology. So I have two different switches, S224D and I have S224E. So let me authorize the switch quickly. Once you authorize the switch will go for a reboot and it will join the topology. So we will wait for switch to come back and online. Meanwhile, we will see the configuration switch configuration from a FortiGate point of view. So if you would like to create a VLAN, it's pretty simple, creating a interface on a FortiGate firewall or introducing a VLAN. So it's same as you can just create a VLAN on the 40 link or 40 switch VLAN. So once you create this VLAN on FortiGate firewall, the same VLAN is available on your switch to be configured or selected. So if I go back to the switch port, on switch port, you can see there are the ports that are currently sourcing power. The number of these are different access points. They are sourcing power from my from the switch port. So if you create a VLAN, the VLAN once you create the VLAN here on switch 40 switch VLAN, this VLAN is available here to be selected if you want to allow or if you want to dedicate one of the port to the respective VLAN. So you can choose the VLAN from here and you can assign that VLAN to the switch port. Additionally, this is one way of looking into the port. Or if you want to see the faceplate view of switch, if you click on the faceplate, it is going to show you the switches connected behind the FortiGate. So currently, this switch, the 224E, is gone for a reboot. It will take time to join the topology. Maybe in a couple of minutes, this will be up and running. And if you see from the faceplate of FortiGate 40 switch ports, so you can see number of ports they are sourcing power. Additionally, the VLANs that are available for these for these switches to be configured, right? So you can define the VLANs from here. And additionally, if you have any trunk ports assigned or configured on that switch port, you can see them from here or manage them from here. And we also recently, with the new release of 6.4, we introduced a NAC feature within Fortinet Secure Access Architect, where you can actually introduce or create a NAC policy, and you can profile the device against the MAC address or hardware vendor OUI information or the device family, type of device. So this could be a various type of profiling mechanism, or based on the user information you can map. And once you profile that, you can map them to the respective or you can provision them the respective access on the network segment, right? So this is another option or built-in NAC feature within the Secure Access Architect. So if you compare these kind of features, no vendor has that or offers you similar set of features and functionalities, managing a secure access or a single pane of management, managing your wired and wireless infrastructure, and without compromising on the security. So this was a quick look at. Okay, now I'll quickly. Any questions, guys, on anything specific that you want to discuss or from a management point of view, or a single pane of management? And you can see, if you go to the fabric view, and if I look into the topology, physical topology, okay, my FortiGate is updating the topology information. So you could see, my physical topology. So in physical topology, I have 40 switches behind the FortiGate firewall managed by a FortiLink, and there are some endpoint devices connected, behind that. So you can see the number of endpoint device information, and then similarly, I have different access endpoint client devices connected to an access point. So I have currently 2 clients connected or associated to this AP, and on this switch port, the number of connected devices also you could see them, right? And now moving on to the logical topology. I think it's still generating the topology. Meanwhile, I'll just go back quickly and see if that switch is up and up and running and join the topology, 40 switch topology. So go back to the manage 40 switches. So now you can see both the switches are online. Now we are managing both the switches. So if I go back and see the 40 switch VLAN management, 40 switch port management. So I'll minimize this. You can see there are 2 switches managed by FortiGate. So in any port management, any switch management you want to do, you could do that from here. And one important aspect, and one important keynote not to forget. So we are going to gain the complete visibility what is connected behind the switch port at any point of time. So this is where if I go back to this port, I know that okay, on this port I have a client, a AP model, a hardware AP, which is FAP321 is connected. The MAC address of that access point is this. And additionally, on top of that, on same AP, I have a client association, which is a Apple TV connected behind the to this access point. Similarly, you can see different type of devices. Like for instance, like I have one of the camera connected here, so you can see from a visibility point of view, I know. Or FortiGate is able to discover the device type. It knows the exactly model, the hardware type. It is a 40 camera FD20 model. So from a visibility point of view, what is connected behind your access layer is very important to know. So you're gaining complete complete visibility from single point of management. So imagine you have multiple switches managed by the FortiGate firewall and your access layer managed by the FortiGate firewall. But any endpoint connected behind the access layer, with one single click, you would know that the client or the device connected on where it is connected on the network, or which SSID, or which access point, or which switch port. All right, so you can see my logical topology here, and I can see number of devices. Also, I have one of the Cisco switch connected to the FortiGate firewall. So FortiGate is able to discover the device type, which is a PoE enabled switch behind the FortiGate firewall, along with the iOS version and the 40 switch model information. Sorry, it's a Cisco switch information. So includes the Cisco switch model, the port information, and the iOS running on this switch. So if there are no questions, I will quickly move on to a controller-based platform. So now I have also added our WLC controller. As I told you during my presentation, 40 FortiGate and 40 WLC, Fortinet wireless LAN controller can integrate with FortiGate or security fabric. So let's quickly log on to the wireless LAN controller. This is my dashboard or dashboard of a controller once you log into the FortiGate wireless LAN controller. So in terms of it gives a complete end-to-end information from dashboard itself, knowing about, for instance, the number of access points online, the number of APs offline, the number of clients connected here. You can see the throughput or the total aggregated traffic generated seen on the controller, and then the station distribution, then based on the band, based on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. And if you see if there are any critical alarm generated by the controller, the number of stations or clients connected to the respective SSID. This is basically the distribution of your SSID. And then we also have the band distribution. So you can see majority of devices connected to the wireless LAN controller or on 5 gigahertz band only. So I have either 11N or 11AC devices. Then it also does the device fingerprinting to know what type of OS you're running or what kind of device. So we know it's an Apple running iOS with so-and-so version. So we know that we are doing the DHCP device fingerprinting here, so to get to know about that information. So moving on to additional information, like for example, to gain visibility, you have complete detailed radio distribution dashboard, which allows you to see number of association based on the radio. If you want to get into the details, always you can choose by clicking right click and say select show. So this will give you the count, the interface index, or interface index, and the AP name or AP ID information, and you can always open and do the diagnostics here. So detailed information like about channel, your radio channel utilization, your retry count. So looks the health looks to be good here. I don't see a lot of retries or deassociation or any a large heavily interference on the network. Then we have different stations here. Station dashboard or station distribution dashboard, from where if you want to get into any specific device, you want to see the logs about the respective device, you can always go back and open and do the diagnostics of the device. I can run that. At the moment you open that, it started running, so you're going to see the backend logs. If a client is association, you want to troubleshoot that client, you can always put the MAC of that station where it is connecting, and then you can you can start troubleshooting with that endpoint. And if there are any voice association or voice calls, basically determining any SIP traffic on the controller, it will showcase. Currently I don't have any SIP client, so we don't see this here. In terms of on a high level, you have a very detailed dashboard with knowing a lot of other information like diagnostics, device information, all the stations, wireless access points, wired devices, rogue devices, so on. On a high level, basically you have for a controller is distributed into 4 main tabs. Monitor will give you complete monitoring of your controller, including top 10 stations, top 10 access points that are generating traffic, or top 10 problem stations. So you can basically get that information or get the logs when you have too many clients connected. And then moving on to, so this is basically the monitor will give you complete monitoring tab here. So anything that you want to search or do the deep analysis about any issue, you could do that from here. You could do the monitoring from monitor tab. Then moving on, any configuration that you will require or you want to introduce any configuration, we can do that configuration from here, configuration tab. So configuration can be done in a various steps, basically by introducing a VLAN, adding a security, adding a ESS ID, a container, then introducing a radius server or integrating with radius server, captive portal, depending on if you want to use external captive portal or you would like to use internal captive portal, or if there are timer profiles, depending on if you want to create access, user access or SSID access based on the timer plan. For instance, you want to broadcast the SSID within a specific given time. For instance, 8 to 2 p.m. morning 8 to 2 p.m. So the SSID or the service is available only during the time frame that you define or the profile that you create. Or let's say the profile where you don't want to allow the services SSID service during weekend on Friday and Saturday. So you could create a timer profile and you can add the day and time, start time, end time, all that information. Or you want to do this on a periodic basis, you can select that here, the interval here, time intervals here. We can do AP grouping depending on, if you want to map the APs to a floor or to a building, to a block. So it's basically a mapping depending on what customer is looking for or what is your use case. And moving on to the security, again, if you see the security, we do support all the enterprise grade security protocols. So you can see WPA2, WPA3 here. That can be a SSID or a SSID that you are broadcasting, or ESSID that can be mapped to the security profile that you define here on the controller. So this was a quick one, and then you can also have a rogue AP. So you can see there are no licenses here. All the features like rogue AP detection, your quality of service on a wireless network. If you're doing any such configuration or using a WIPS sensor, we don't need any licensing here. All the features are fully loaded on the controller. So we can introduce AP. You can map the access point here, and we can do rogue AP detection. All right. So in a nutshell, this is a tab where you do complete configuration of controller. There are different use cases, or there could be different user configuration. And moving on to one of the point we were discussing about single channel and virtual cell. So single channel, virtual cell, deploying APs on a same channel. So one of the example here, just to explain you how it works. The APs are placed in the same channel. If I go back and refer to the SSID or the BSSID that we are broadcasting, will be same on the same series of access point. So basically, I am running virtual cell at this moment with only 300 series, 3-to-1 access point, a universal 3-to-1 AP model. So I'll go back to the ESSID. So let's say we have a profile for 11 AC wave to access point. So if you see the 11 AC wave to access point, you can see the BSSID is same. Okay, this AP, one of the radio for this AP was configured in a scanning, I mean, same way you can convert the radio sensor in a scanning mode, the rogue scanning mode or spectrum scanning mode. So you can use the basically the radio for service mode, or you can use them in that radio to be converted as a rogue scanner or a spectrum scanner. So moving on to maintenance tab, it's basically in case if you're running the 40 wireless LAN controller on a VM platform, so that requires a license for. I mean, it's only one license that activates against your controller model. There's no license for AP model to support number of access points. It's basically only one license. So we can quickly see here. This is my FWC50 VM controller license. So in case you're running VM platform, you will require a license that needs to be activated against the controller model. So, other than that, you could do the maintenance tab, or if you want to do a file management, for example, if you want to upgrade the SD version on a controller or to the access points, you could do that from here. If you need to run any script on a access point to tweak the parameters on the APs, we could always write a script and push the script to the access point and just reboot the AP to apply the configuration changes. And wizard, if this is a quick easy wizard. For instance, if you're doing the setup for the first time, actually if you can go through the easy setup that will allow you to do the basic initial configuration, set the country code. The APs that are connected will be discovered automatically. You could choose the channels here. You can define the service to the controller, and once you're done with everything, just do a reboot. Instead of navigating through multiple tabs, you could go through the easy setup and follow the process. But this requires a reboot. So if you're doing this for the first time, you can do that initial setup, apply the basic configuration, connected, discover the APs, configure the channels, and then you go for a reboot. Yeah, that was on a high level from a controller point of view. Any questions, guys? Anything specific that you would like to see on controller, or any questions on controller platform? All right, so we can. Yeah, Ravi.
No, I don't think there is any question.
Great. All right. Okay. So let's quickly move on to one moment. Let's move on to the FortiAP cloud management, and same time we can see the other option of managing Forti switches or Forti switch over Forti cloud. So let me quickly log in. So now you can manage your cloud management from Fortinet one account, where your other platforms like other cloud services are mapped within one support portal login account. So let's say if you want to do the FortiAP management, Forti Extender, or Forti Switch management over cloud platforms, you could directly log into your Fortinet support portal, and you can directly access or gain access to these platforms. So let me quickly move on to the Forti Switch, FortiAP management, cloud management. So FortiAP cloud management, you need to choose the cloud. The data center. Basically, we have one hosted for Europe and one of the global Forti cloud data center. So I'll quickly connect to the global one. All right, so you can see currently there are two access points which are two APs that they are due for due for authorization or due to deploy. So right now you can see there are two APs, FAPU24JE and FAP321C. So basically, if you want to onboard or you want to manage the AP from FortiCloud management, there are various options. One of the option, if you want to do it, you could do it yourself manually by adding a cloud key from the access point. So every access point that we ship has a cloud key label on on the back side or front side of the AP. So the old APs are on the front side. I believe the new APs, the current generation access points, you will find the FortiCloud key on the back side, near to that serial number information and FortiAP model information. So you can actually just import the cloud key here, and once you import, the AP will be discovered here, and it waits for your option to deploy. So whether you want to deploy this AP, if I select the deploy here, you will find two options for deployment. Deployment to the FortiCloud, which means you want to deploy the APs through the FortiCloud management. The other option would be if you are using FortiManager, a centralized FortiManager, then you can map this AP or push this AP to or reroute this AP to be managed through the or discovered through the centralized management platform. So you have a choice. So if you are doing that, if you want to do or you're willing to do the cloud management, then go with the option deploy to FortiAP Cloud. So once you do this, the AP will be deployed under your account. So once the AP is deployed, you're going to see the deployed APs here. Additionally, I want to show you other option of sorry, yeah. So let me go back to the switch ports. So let's search that AP. Yeah, 30.11. Okay, let me access this AP. Okay, I know why this is not working. Okay. Anyway, so the other option would be, I need to change my network if I have to connect that AP. I don't want to do that, but you have the other option where from AP also you could actually choose the cloud option and provision your cloud credentials, your cloud user account information and password. So once you have this information, but make sure that you choose the right data center. I mean the URL. You need to provide the FortiCloud or FortiCloud controller URL. So you need to provision this URL and provide your user credentials on the access point. So once the AP is connected to the internet, the AP is going to be discovered under your account. Okay, so in my case, this AP, I have put my user credentials on the access point. I have not added this AP manually. So these APs are discovered, or they are connected through my account. So once the AP deployment is done, now I'll quickly move to the configuration options that are available from a cloud management product. So this is one you're going to deploy them and as a part of process. So just select the deployment option. Deploy to the cloud AP. So I'm doing that now, going ahead with that. Now it says add to the network. I don't have a network. I'm going to create a network, add a AP to FortiAP to the network. So now let's do it only for one, so not to be confused. Okay, now deploy this AP. I'm adding a network, so let's add FAQ U24J or okay, select the country, time zone. I'll select Saudi Arabia. So submit that. Now I'm deploying this AP. Why this access is denied? The AP is still in the inventory. It is not. Let me try with this AP. Okay, let me not sure if I gave the URL for other one. So let me go back if I'm able to see that AP here. Okay. That profile is created here. Right. Okay. Oh, okay, I will see that why it is rejecting. But meanwhile, I'll quickly go back to the profile that we created just to show you what settings are there. Okay, so this is the 40 Cloud AP profile that you created. Now, once you go inside the 40 AP Cloud profile, okay, so you can see there is no SSID configured. So this is my container, or you can say, a profile. For this can be in case if you are managing multiple locations, multiple sites. This can be one of the identifier or a container. For instance, instead of using 40 Cloud here, I can use a branch name. Maybe one of the branch location in Riyadh, Jeddah, Hubar. So I can have multiple profiles, whereas you have different profiles or different AP models or different configuration with respect to different container or different different 40 AP network profile here. So moving on to moving on to the configuration. So once you are done with that, now we can quickly come back to the configurations view here. And in configuration, now we are going to add the SSID. So it's a similar configuration. So you can create your SSID that you want to broadcast. You have other options, like if you want to enable MAC-based authentication, you want to create a mesh profile. Similarly, authentication protocols, like you can see, WPA2, WPA2 personal enterprise, and WPA3 protocols. or Open SSID. We can also introduce a captive portal. Captive portal, you have multiple options. Like there is a built-in captive portal on FortiCloud itself, so you can use the built-in FortiCloud captive portal, or you want to use external captive portal or my captive portal. You need to provide that URL and make sure that you are able to reach that URL for redirection purpose. So you could have multiple options, or you can say no captive portal. So if I use FortiCloud captive portal, then in terms of sign-on method, so here we can choose. So you can integrate with backend Radius server. Right now I don't have a Radius server integration integrated to my account, but you can introduce that here. Or other options like if you want to do FortiCloud users and groups. So this means you can have your own user and group database for user authentication. So take an example. I can have a user groups, for instance, if you're deploying this AP for a small SMB customer. So maybe they have two different type of network. A group of users who are internal users, a group of users who are guest users. So we can always create a different profiling, or within that, if you want to have a group with a naming, or which is reflecting your department, I can have a department, or based on contractor, user, different use case, you can have different user group created or assigned here. And then if you allow self-registration, so self-registration, we can have guest user self-registration captive portal page. And for example, let's create this one. Secure access. Now with self-registration, or if you want to integrate with social media platforms, so you can also introduce social media platforms here. So let's see the difference here when I choose social media platform or self-registration portal. Okay. And to answer your question, these features are the captive portal, and other features are with no extra license, but additional features are advanced features, the one I was referring to earlier, which are license-based feature. You need to have a license to enable below functionality. For instance, if you want to tweak or have customized data rates, so this requires a license or advanced AP management license on your account. So once you have this license, you will be able to tweak, or you want to reduce the data rates, you could do that. So I'm just ignoring that, moving on to next. In case you have remember, we also have smart access point where you will require a FortiGuard subscription. We can have FortiGuard subscription here. We can create profiles. So there are more than 3,500 application signatures built in. So you can say on a very detail, you can tell what is allowed, what is not allowed. You can create. You can have custom profile if you want to block peer application, or you want to block gambling applications on the wireless network. So you could do that, in a very detailed way. And then you can configure intrusion prevention. You can prevent wireless users against botnet attacks. So web filtering is one of the things you can enable and apply the policy for web filtering for different group of users. So these are some examples of what you could do from a cloud management. So I'm going to ignore these all and then move on to the next, availability. So this is where you can control the client count. For example, you don't want too many devices to be connected to an endpoint. So I can say that, okay, to an access point or to a radio of an access point. So I can set the limit of 10. So when you set the limit to 10, the maximum association to this AP radio at 2.4 will be maximum 10. At 5 gigahertz respectively, you can define the count. What is allowed count, you can tell. Okay. So example, I'll set this to 10. Okay. Now next, you want to broadcast, you want to schedule this SSID broadcast between a time frame 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or on a or during only weekdays, considering excluding your weekends, or you can always have a custom profile. So you can always do that. So I'll say always. Now next, if I move to the next portal, you have a nice captive portal where since we selected social media platform, the social media platform will allow you to authenticate your guest users against social media platforms like Facebook, your Twitter account, LinkedIn, or we can authenticate them against Google Plus. And you have a background logo. If you are deploying this for a customer, you want to change, this background image. I can always do that. Let me quickly go to the desktop, find a screenshot. Okay, I found this, and so you can see I just uploaded an image. So you can have a custom captive portal. On the back end, you can replace this logo or image for your customer, or you can replace it with your customer logo here. And once I say next, it will apply the policy. It will create the profile. So now let's go back to the other option and explore the options of self-registration. See the options of self-registration. So social media, instead of social media, we are enabling self-registration guest portal. Next. So on self-registration portal, you can have a customized tab, like for instance, okay, the information that we are capturing during self-registration process, you can initially user, basically it will use your mobile number as a username here for authentication purpose, or you can have option for randomly generated user account and send via SMS or via email. So you can have multiple options here with the self-registration tab. Again, this is if you want to enable or edit this or customize, you could do that also. Okay. All right. So right now I can see there are two APs, under my profile. So there are two access points that are added to this platform, this AP platform. Okay. So going back to the cloud user groups, you can find, you can have different user groups. For instance, I can have a user group based on the user role here. So I can have guest user and map them to the respective segment of your network, or map it to the respective VLAN. So if you see here, from a cloud AP management point of view, or cloud AP management over FortiCloud has all the enterprise grade features, including your integration with your Radius server, introducing captive portal, having self-registration, in authenticating against your against the local database on FortiCloud or social media platform. So there could be, it's basically AP management from a centralized management capability, and onboarding process. You have very rich features when you are managing the Forti AP through cloud platform. And one of the point, if you remember, we also have Forti presence integration. So there is a built-in tab. You can select Forti presence integration. You need to have your project name and your secret information, and map it to your Forti presence cloud IP address. So you need to do that mapping here. So once you do that, and you can add APs to the, you are going to see these APs on Forti presence, and then you can map the APs to the respective location. You can import the floor plans. You can place the AP's physical location. So on. You could do almost all, and also we have introduced a tunneling profile. So in this tunneling profile, you can deploy the AP on the cloud, but the user traffic can be tunneled back using your layer 2 tunneling or GRE tunneling. So let's say you have one of the VPN device configured with configured as a layer 2 GRE tunnel. We need the tunnel IP address here, the interface IP, and all your traffic is forwarded to the tunnel IP that you provided. So we can support both the options, GRE and layer 2 tunneling. This could be one of the use case where your guest, where your teleworkers wants to work from home, but their traffic needs to be forwarded to the corporate tunnel. So this could be one of the thing, and all their traffic, user traffic, will go through through this centralized GRA tunnel. Even the user internet traffic will go through the centralized tunnel. All right, so we will move on to 40 camera, and then we will see 40 voice management console. See, Ravi, if you miss the 40 cloud key, the other option I told you, you can log into the 40 AP, and you can choose the mode of management of that access point via cloud, provide the cloud URL, and you can also give your credentials, like your 40 cloud account credentials, login information. So once you provision your account information, this AP will be automatically discovered under your account. So once it is connected to the internet, this AP is registered under your 40 cloud account. And yes, the other option would be you can definitely contact Fortinet support. All right, we can start with 40 voice, since 40 recorder is taking time to download here or to show the screen. So let's start with 40 voice. So you could see that I've logged into the 40 voice dashboard. It's a very user friendly and 40 voice dashboard. I'm sure the partners partners who has already worked on FortiGate firewall, they are going to have the same look and feel. It's same for customers who has already hands-on on FortiGate, so they are going to have a same look and feel. So this 40 voice deployment, you can see the model 40 voice, which is currently deployed on a VM platform. And moving on to the license information, I have a 200 40 voice VM license a license loaded on this box. We have hotel management license to support up to 30 rooms or 30 packs. There is also a 30 user license for agents, basically call center agents for a call center setup. Additionally, we have 30 user license or soft client license for 30 users. So soft client license is required. So soft client license is required when you want to register your SIP extension, or when you want to use our 40 voice application on different device platforms, like on iOS or Windows or Linux or Mac, so on. So that requires a license on 40 voice. So that's about the voice information. From dashboard, you can see the number of calls or the recent call activity. When was the recent call done, from which extension it was done, to which number it was made. So you're going to see that information. Additionally, this is customizable dashboard. If you want to add any additional widgets in terms of management, you can always go back and select what information you want to add here, which is important or more relevant to your monitoring for your monitoring purpose. Then we can also have the call statistics from here. So it's mainly depending on the day by month, the distribution or the detailed calling, the number of incoming calls, number of outgoing calls based on hour basis, daily basis, monthly basis. So we don't have much flow on this. Then moving on to the console, you can always connect to the CLI from here. Now, if I go back to the system, these are on a high level. It's a similar configurations on an interface. So how you want to route your traffic, the port configuration here, management IP. You can also use DHCP server or FortiVoice tracked as a DHCP server, where your phones will obtain IP address from FortiVoice DHCP server itself. Okay. Or and you also have traffic capture for troubleshooting purpose. You have routing here. Then moving on to other things like gateway. So remember, we have different type of gateways. We have FXO gateway, we have FXS gateway, or we have the PRI gateway. So in this case, when you have gateways, we don't need to log into the gateway or manage them in a standalone mode. Basically, when you connect a gateway, it will automatically discover, or we can always fetch the information about that gateway. I don't have the privilege, but if you have in your setup, you can always add a manageable gateway, create that, add the IP address of that, and once you click on the fetch information, it is going to get all the information about the interface, the type of gateway, and the software version that you're running on the gateway. So all that information will be pulled out from the device. Additionally, you can do complete management and administration of that gateway from FortiVoice itself. So for example, if you are creating calls, or you want to do the call distribution or call forwarding or routing from different gateways. So for example, you want to use all your local calls through the FXO gateway. So we can have a call routing configured to route all your local calls routed through the routed through FXO gateway. Whereas if you want to make a national and international call routing through PRI gateway, so you can define that routing here. You can have those gateways managed by our FortiVoice IPPBX. Additionally, these gateways can be managed from FortiVoice. They work with FortiVoice, or also you can position FortiVoice gateway with third-party products. For example, if you have a customer who has a PBX from Avaya, or who has a PBX from Mitel, or any third-party IPPBX, but they are looking, or they are in a need of a gateway to connect, FXO lines, or possibly they want to, they are in a process of obtaining PRI lines. They need a PRI gateway. So you can always introduce FortiVoice gateways, or you can. There is no dependency on FortiVoice. You can sell our gateways, with other solutions or other platforms. And firmware upgrade can be done from here. We can have a centralized firmware upgrade. That means that based on the type of FortiPhone models that you are managing, you can import the firmware here, and you can schedule, or you can push the upgrade of FortiPhone upgrade from here. Then there is an integration with to protect you against the IPS attacks, or CIPS attacks, intrusion detection attacks. So that can also be configured here. Or there are some fake numbers that you get called. So those numbers can also be blocked by looking into the IPS database, or the block number database by receiving that from FortiGuard services. That can also be blocked here. Moving on to the extensions, this is where you actually create an extension. There are different various ways of doing it. One way of creating extension, you can always assign a phone with an extension. For example, a phone which is already connected to the IPPBX, which is discovered by your PBX, you can always right click and say edit and assign extension, or you can always click on new and create a new extension here. And from while creating, you need to select the type of phone. So for example, if you're using 40 phone, what is the model of that phone? So if I click here, it will list me the different type of phones that we have, or the phones that 40 voice carries in on its product profile. So we have different phone models here. I can select that. There are some third-party phones also you can see, which is tested. So for example, this Cisco phones, that has been tested. Okay, so you can use third-party phones as well to work with our IPPBX. So but that depends on what set of features are working. It works for sure as long as you're only concerned about SIP clients. Yes, you can register as a generic SIP client, and that works to make a call or to receive a call. Additionally, you can have soft phone agent configured here. If you're assigning same extension to a soft client, you can map that here. And if you are introducing a call center, we can also map this extension for a call center. So all you need to do is just allow this user to be registered under call center extension. And we can also have different user privileges. I can have different user groups. For example, operator group, you can have hotel group, making for hotel, for hospitality customers making long distance call, or customers with allowed only with local calls, or we can have a password protected privilege where you can dial in, you can pick up the line, dial the number, and then you have to also provide the dialing code or a key that allows you to make a call. So we can have password protected privilege also here. So different privilege levels we can define on the PDF. So we can configure white trunks here. You can also office peer is where if you have some third party, take the use case where you have some you are introducing 40 voice to a existing Avaya customer or Mitel customer or any third party IPPBX customer where you want to integrate these two PBX or have SIP trunks between two IPPBX, so you can route calls between two PBX over IP. So that can be done, and we can have you can also define inbound and outbound routing policies here, and we can also do the DID mapping and office peer configuration for inbound. So you can also create a policy for office peer or your branch location calls, incoming calls. Same way we can do that for outbound also. And one point here, when we refer to the gateway, let's say if you have a distributed architect where customer has got multiple sites and they want to have a centralized IPPBX, then you can have a centralized IPPBX deployed, but they register all their SIP extensions or all the user desk phone is registered to the centralized IPPBX. But here, same time, if you have call routing that needs to be done through the local local gateway. For example, in one of the branch you have some traditional lines and you want to route that branch location calls through that local traditional lines, then we can have the gateway installed in a remote location, and you could still do the call routing from for the local or for the branch extensions, and that would allow their call to be routed or their calls to be routed from the FXO line. Okay, so it's again when it comes to configuration or offering solution wise, we do have all the set of features and functionalities that you're looking in a IPPBX, and we do have call center. You can see the call queue. We can have queue groups again separately. You can have the agent user agent created, assigning an extension to that user from here. We can have IVR, or you can even integrate with the REST API. That means I can have this integrated to third party to play any audio from third party platform. Okay, and then you can also set up the survey. For example, survey from your call to see the quality of service of your agents. So you could enable survey on the IPPBX itself. So when you see the advanced features, like additionally, in addition to the SIP extensions or call recording, or having this what do you call the survey features, or IVR functionality, or auto answer, auto attendant, all these advanced features which any other or most of the enterprise grade PBX requires a license to enable that features, right? So we don't need any licensing on the PBX for that. So advanced features like call recording, call forwarding, call, or auto attendant, all those features are fully loaded on the box, and does not require any additional licensing for that. And you can have also a built-in reporting. There is no need of license again to enable reporting on our PBX. And you can have this hotel management integration. You can map it to the status of minibar, status of your room, out of different status that you want to define, different again privilege access to that room, guest room. So guest room conditions, if I go to the guest room conditions, you can see you can map that to the guest room condition. For instance, it is due for housekeeping team to look after, or wake up call, or check out, check in. So you can or the room is clean or dirty. So depending on different status, you can map that status here to PBS. Okay, you can see the other call features like auto attended, speed dial, conferencing, call recording, call parking, fax, reminder, or feature code. All these features, these are usually treated as advanced features in other PBX. So all these features are fully loaded on the PBX itself. And then you have the call report feature here, call reporting, and CDR, SMDR. If you want to integrate with third-party backend centralized reporting server, then we can also do that as well. So you need that device to support SMDR format. Now, quickly to move on. Any questions on FortiWise? Anything related on FortiWise?
So, team, I think if there is nothing else to discuss, I think we can conclude the session. I would like to thank Rafiq for making time and coming out and hosting this session for us. Thank you so much, Rafiq.
Appreciate, and I would like to thank all the partners and I really appreciate for their time they invested being with us during the session. Thank you, guys.
Thank you everyone.